Hey guys, Melissa here, and I'm back with another video in the making of this little mini album for my friend's daughter. So last time I was up on the Scrappery, I had this cover made, so if you need to go back and look at that, I will link it below, or you can just look back in the Scrappery. And I've just cut out the pages to the album, so I've gone through the 12 by 12 papers and just picked 3 that I think will work well, and I needed both the A and B sides to work, so that's why I've chosen these ones, and I think they'll go well with the theme of being quite girly. And then I've just got a plain, another cardstock one for the back. So what I'm going to do is line them up like this, and you can see where the hole will go for the binding, and it will be like that. So these are the photos, and I've printed them. I used the Project Life app, and I have printed them out. So I'm going to trim them up and get working on the album. So I'll put you on to fast forward so you can watch. So I had printed these photos as 4 2x3s, so 4 photos on each of a 4x6 canvas, and I trimmed them up with my little Fiskars guillotine, and I found that because they were landscape, they were too big for the album, and they would fit but they wouldn't look as good, so I trimmed them down again, and I can't exactly remember the exact size, but I made them all the same. And then, as usual, I put a white border on them with white pattern paper, cardstock, just to have a bit of separation between the photos and the pattern paper. So I've used my crocodile to punch a hole in all the other pages, and I just used the cover as a guide. And here I've got some white gesso, and I wanted to provide some more visual separation between the paper and my white border on my photo. So I thought white gesso would be quite good because, as opposed to acrylic paint, it is slightly translucent, and I just apply it with an old credit card. So I have had to leave it to dry, and then I will come back later and do the other side of each of those pages. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to start working on the inside cover of my album. Now, I've said my album, but it's really my friend's album. And so I'm not going to do a whole lot of journaling through this album. I'm just going to have a little bit of journaling on this page. And so I'm using one of the frames, chipboard frame, and they're not self-adhesive. You do have to add some adhesive to them. And I've gone with my Tombow Mono, which sticks amazingly. And here I'm just adding an ephemera flower, and I will also be adding this butterfly and a little bit of glue in the centre of the butterfly. So I've used one of the gold glittery dots, enamel dots, in the centre of the flower, and then a blue and a pink, and I think another gold just above the butterfly. And so this provides the perfect little place to put my journaling. So I just say how Gracie had her party at our local park, and her mum baked cupcakes, and that was her birthday cake, and she loved it. And I'm loving how this is looking on the white cardstock background. It's just nice and simple before we get into a whole lot of pattern paper. So I tested that gesso, and it's still wet. Gesso does take a while to dry. Acrylic paint's a lot quicker, but it's worth waiting for. And then I decided to use the speciality vellum from the kit, and so I've cut another cupcake out, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of visual relief in the middle of the album, and not having a photo, just having some embellishment. And because that vellum is quite busy with flowers and leaves, I'm just keeping this simple. I've layered a die cut flower, a wood veneer love, and I've put another gold glittery enamel dot in the middle of the flower, and then I've got this little chipboard heart, and I'm just going to stick that right there. And what I love about the chipboard in this collection is you don't have to add any extra adhesive. I find that some of the other companies you do, they don't stick too great. So here I've added a little word or a phrase. I can't remember what it says and I can't see it, but I've just stapled it because I want to ensure that it stays on the vellum, and I think the adhesive on the stickers wouldn't be enough. So now that my gesso is dry, it's time to adhere my photos, and I'm just adhering them with double-sided tape. that's because I'm running low on this Tombow glue. So I've added a wood veneer heart, and that's a bow. It comes in one of the pretty little pieces, and I'm just adhering it with a single glue dot. And I find these glue dots are really, really sticky, and they're great for material such as fabric. So I've added a couple more of those enamel dots, and happy with that page and moving on. So this one is a bit different. It's got a paper that is a text print, so I'm wanting to keep it quite simple. I don't want to overdo it. I was just looking at that chipboard sheet again, but I've decided to go with this two-tone pink frame, and rather than have it on top of the photo because it is so small, I'm providing it as a background layer. Once again, fighting with my Tombow. I really need to order some more. Yeah, not good. But I like to use it up till it's all gone. So because I'm adding dimension with that chipboard frame, I need to pop my photo up. So I've got some of that craft foam or fun foam, and I'm putting a little bit just in the bottom right corner of the frame, and that will provide a flatter surface for the photo. And the other piece I will put on the right side of the photo. And I want this album to have a little bit of dimension. And if I've said it before, I find that double-sided tape is the best thing to stick the fun foam down. I know some people use the ATG, and I think it's quite strong adhesive as far as a tape runner goes as well. So now I'm just playing with some embellishments, working out what I want to put on here. It needs something else. This little blue flower is really sweet. And then I add another little word. Okay, so before I realised it, my camera had died, ran out of battery, but I kept going and I wanted to finish this album because I'm aware that I'm a bit behind with this kit. So you didn't miss too much, and now I just thought I'd give you a walkthrough of what it looks like. So this is the album. It's pretty chunky for having not many pages. So of course the cover is the Cupcake, and I made the wrapper by scoring and folding. And it's got just a normal ring binding. So that's the cover. For the inside page, I did the journaling, and because it's not my daughter, it's my friend's daughter, I didn't really want to put a whole lot of journaling in this album because I just want it to be visually beautiful and a memory for her daughter. So in this little frame, I've just said that it's her birthday and what we did. And I just layered some ephemera. So a flower, a butterfly, and then I put some enamel dots. So this page here is a picture of my friend and her daughter. And I've used one of the bows that came in one of the bits and pieces kits. Pretty little pieces, sorry. I've put a tab, one of the wood veneer hearts, and two more of those enamel dots. This page I've got a frame, a flower, and one of the words, and a couple of enamel dots. I've kept it quite simple because it's got text paper, so that one has the potential to get really busy. This page is the vellum, and I've used that just as like a visual breakup of the album. So all I've done is what you saw me do on that one. This one I was going to leave it blank, but then I decided to put this Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful sticker on the back. This is showing the cupcakes on the plate, and so I've used one of the rubber charms and another piece of ephemera, or two pieces of ephemera. With the flower, I've popped it up on some foam. This one, I just love this paper. This is a close-up of the cupcake, so I've just put beautiful memories, and I think because there's so much going on with that paper, that's actually enough. This one, I've just put enjoy the little things from the sticker sheet, another wood veneer heart, and the word precious, and that's Sarah trying to light the candles at the park when the wind was blowing. And finally is a photo of Gracie blowing out her candles. They've had to hold plastic lid so that the wind didn't blow them out. And I've just layered it on top of the frame. I've put happy moments, the little piece of ephemera with the XOXO, and then some more of the enamel dots. And then for the last page, I used the doily and I positioned it so it wouldn't go over the edge of the album, and I popped up Cherish These Moments on some foam. And I did think about having things poking out the edge, like I do in some of my other albums, but I decided to keep it clean because the Cupcake doesn't normally have things poking out the edge, if you get what I mean. So that is the album. I hope you've enjoyed watching this process. I'll be back again next week and I will be doing, I think, a layout. I'm not sure if I'll be doing a boy layout or a girl one, but I will definitely be working my way through my Belle kit. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back next week.